Hello. I'm Shannon O'Hurley. My pronouns are she, her. I am so grateful to be with you this day that love has made. Yes. Can we please thank Brian Harris and the New Thought Messengers? I see you, Joe. Good to see you back, buddy. Happy International Day of Peace. Yes, it is International Day of Peace, and everything I am about to say, when applied, will contribute to international peace. Are you ready? Yes. Okay. All right. So, first, here at NTCSL, this is Solidarity September. And I'm kind of out of breath. I was really dancing. You're a shining star, no matter who you are. Okay, focus. Rev Shelley kicked off our Solidarity September so beautifully by teaching us that standing in solidarity with others is actually a spiritual practice, and being in solidarity in your life is a sign of spiritual maturity. And then last week, I talked about the importance of saying the thing out loud. Together we unpacked this idea that we can use our voice to help create connection, belonging, and freedom. And I invited you to look for ways that you can speak truth to power. I shared with you the story about that neighborhood in New York that experienced ICE agents trying to arrest roofers. If you haven't yet watched or listened to that talk, I invite you into it because this month everything is building on itself. And in that particular community in Rochester, there were roofers, 3 gentlemen on the roof, fixing a roof, and ICE agents tried to arrest them, and the neighbors circled around the house, and within no time there were over 200 people surrounding the house, and after a period of time, the ICE agents just finally left. So I talked about the importance that those neighbors stood in solidarity together to protect the least among them. I also, last week, talked about the importance of using pronouns. It is simple, compassionate, and it is a way to create instant connection because it makes the trans, non-binary, and folks in the queer community feel safe and seen and welcomed, and it only takes a second. I'm going to say it again. Hello, my name is Shannon O'Hurley. My pronouns are she, her. 1 second. That's it. That's it. Easy, simple, kind, compassionate, loving. That contributes to the global peace process in any space that you are in. It is a connector. And then we took it deeper, and I talked about how often we think loving thoughts, but we don't say them out loud. We're not necessarily socialized in this country. We're better than some. If you've ever lived in the UK, you will know what I mean. We're better than some. I love all the people in the UK, but you know, every society has its sort of rules of what you say out loud. And I'm all for speaking the loving, keyword loving, thoughts out loud. And then, of course, the natural unfoldment of that is when you are thinking loving thoughts, that you say them out loud, but also the idea is that if you are having a difficulty to grow your authenticity, to stand in solidarity in an even greater way, there's an opportunity to actually say the difficult thing. When someone asks you, how are you doing, instead of the rote, I'm fine, how are you? If it's relevant, you might say, I'm having a tough day, actually. And then what will happen? The other person will lean in. This isn't about like, and then happened, and this happened, and that happened, and this happened. It's not that. It's about being honest and authentic and real and true in any given moment and catching yourself when that thing on the news really bothered you, but you're saying, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Fine, how are you? No more. We can no longer afford to do that anymore because we have to name it in real time. And what happens is the moment you say to someone, that thing on the news really bothered me, again, there's a lean in. I hear you. I'm with you. and there's an instant connection. So there is a connection between solidarity and intimacy or relationship. And so last week, really, it was all about sort of the courage to say the thing out loud. And this week, I want to take us deeper to what it means to say the truth out loud or inwardly to yourself. To yourself. We teach in New Thought that everything starts within us first. Everything. Everything is created twice, first in the mind and then in the world. So, right now we are living in a time where voices are being silenced. Just this week, Jimmy Kimmel was, essentially fired for speaking. And this is reminding all of us how fragile the gift of free speech is starting to feel in our country. And that is why even more it behooves us to get really clear with our inner truth. Therefore, we're speaking more truth out in the world. Do you see what I'm saying? So, our work is not only to stand up for others, but it's also to have the courage to stand up for the truth within ourselves. We must never silence our inner truth. The title of my talk today is Coming Home to Yourself, Cultivating Solidarity Within. And in the context of this conversation, the idea of coming home to yourself really means asking yourself in the most loving way, what is the most authentic way I can be on the inside? So that's what we're going to unpack together. What is the most authentic way I can be on the inside? Again, last week was about bringing your inner truth outward. This week is about listening closely to your inner voice, loving yourself enough to let your inner voice speak clearly and refuse to abandon it. And so in that spirit, I want to celebrate something beautiful happening right here in our community. Our LGBTQIA plus and allies group recently chose a new name. And they chose the name the Rainbow Alliance. Isn't that great? Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Daniel, wherever you are. The Rainbow Alliance, because it felt more authentic. It felt more true to who they are and what they stand for. And that is a prime example of what coming home to yourself looks like. It looks like living from a place that feels real, loving, and free. And sometimes that requires change, or at least a loving commitment to self-awareness. So friends, I ask you a tender but very important question for you just to be with in these next few minutes, and that is, where is it that you have a tendency to abandon yourself? I ask with great love, where is it in your life that you have a tendency to abandon yourself? And I'm talking about those often unconscious moments when you leave yourself behind, when you silence your voice to fit in, when you feel what you feel on the inside doesn't match your actions on the outside. Sometimes this can happen when you choose to either echo or believe an old lie or a false belief about yourself instead of trusting the truth of your being. We have all done this. You are in great company. Know this. Know this. We all know what it feels like to abandon ourselves, all of us. When we shrink ourselves down, or when we decide not to say something. When we edit ourselves, not from a loving place, from a self-defeating place. When we allow our inner critic to take over. Maybe there's something you do that is not healthy for your body temple, that's not in alignment. That's another way we can abandon ourselves. We can abandon ourselves by just throwing in the towel for all the wrong reasons. right? And so this self-abandonment, what it does is it costs us our joy and our freedom and our peace. And again, this is the day of international peace. So let's work on that. Because there is good news. There is good news. Whatever reason that we may temporarily abandon ourselves, spirit within us never abandons us. We exit the building, love is right here. Love never leaves us. God never leaves us. Spirit never leaves us. Source never leaves us, whatever word you're comfortable with. The allness of God consciousness is always within us. We leave it, it doesn't leave us. So the real question then is, will you make the decision to cultivate solidarity within that godly, loving place within you? Will you cultivate solidarity within yourself? Are you ready? I have a few thoughts. All right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to catch the lie with compassion. Number one, catch the lie with compassion. We've all been handed lies. Generational or family lies. It's different for everyone. It might sound like, don't get too big for your britches. Anybody? Societal lies. Those lies whisper something like, again, it's different for everyone, but they whisper things like, people like you don't belong in those rooms, or you're not right for that profession, person, level of success, anybody. And then there are religious lies, which can cut the deepest. Religious lies such as, you're not worthy. That was one of the hardest ones that I had to heal from the church of my childhood, is worthiness. And the thing is, most of us grew up digesting those kinds of lies without even realizing it, without even recognizing that we were taking that in and living from that place. Here's the deal. To live a spiritual life is to live a profoundly authentic life. To live a spiritual life is to live a profoundly authentic life. We cannot live an authentic life through the lens of lies about our worth. The great James Baldwin wrote, "You have to decide who you are and force the world to deal with you, not with its idea of you." You have to decide who you are and force the world to deal with you, not with its idea of you. Because when we keep unconsciously looking through the filter of whatever those generational, societal, or religious lies were, life will just keep shaping itself to fit that lie. In quantum physics in the 1920s, physicists Werner Heisenberg and Niels Bohr showed that the act of observing or measuring something actually changes how the particles behave. What? Yeah, it's what's called the observer effect. Metaphysically, it's the same with what we focus on. So what we focus on gains energy and begins to shape our reality. And if we keep focusing on, say, fear, life will keep giving us evidence of things to fear. But if we focus on gratitude, we begin to see and attract more things to be grateful for. This is where science and spirituality meet. In the Sikh tradition, they have a beautiful teaching, and it's the idea that the mind is dyed with the color of its focus. The mind is dyed with the color of its focus. So the question then becomes, what are you focusing on? So here is the spiritual practice to create true solidarity with yourself. Again, first always notice that old lie. For example, maybe, and again, it's different for everyone, maybe in any given moment you recognize that you're thinking something like, I'm not enough, I can't, I fill in the blank, can't do it because blah, blah, blah. The second thing is in that moment, and that's key. So the moment that that false belief pops in from, sometimes it's from nowhere, right? Sometimes it's things we heard when we were really, really little or in the throes of adolescence. And that tape just replays, right? The key is to catch it. The key is to catch it in the moment and speak the truth about it. You can stop yourself and you can just say, wait, nope, Wait a minute. If you see me doing that anywhere, you know exactly what I'm doing. No. The truth in that moment, you can stop and you can say to yourself, this isn't true. This is just old conditioning. That thought that I just had, that's a lie that never belonged to me. You got it? It never belonged to you. The generational, familial, societal, or religious lies that you were told belonged to the generations and the people that said them, belonged to them. Never belonged to you. Never. So, if you can stop and say, that doesn't belong to me, I'm totally worthy. What? And then, and then in the next breath, you have an opportunity to shift it. You have an opportunity to shift it. In our New Thought teaching, we shift by reframing. If you have had any class with me, you have heard me say, pour in the opposite. Pour in the opposite. Pour in the opposite. If the thought pops in, I'm not worthy, catch it. That lie doesn't belong to me. I am more than worthy. I am loved. I am good at this. I am here to do this. I'm here to be this. I'm standing in my truth. Whatever that is for you, reframe it as an affirmation or an inner mantra, whatever that is for you. And you can do it wherever you are. No one will know. Just stop the thought. Don't let it go down the rabbit hole. Don't let it sabotage you. Stop. And in doing it, you're creating solidarity with your soul. You see? The Dhammapada, a Buddhist scripture, says, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. And what they're talking about is what you have thought repetitively, not the random weird thoughts that all human beings have. That's not what we're talking about. Talking about, the regular thoughts that you're having. The regular thoughts that you're having. In other words, what we believe about ourselves is the life we live. Whatever the circumstances may be, that's over here. What we believe about ourselves in those circumstances, whatever they may be, is the life we live. And this is why catching any lies that we are telling ourselves, those tapes that can run in our minds, is the very first step to freedom and deep authenticity. Misty Copeland grew up in deep poverty with 5 siblings, often living in motel rooms where the kids shared 2 small rooms and slept on couches and floors. Her mother worked multiple jobs just to keep food on the table. Despite all of that, Misty Copeland grew up to be considered one of the greatest ballerinas of our time. And she didn't start ballet until she was 13 years old, which, if you know anything about the dance world, you're like a senior. You're like a, truly like a senior at 13. They start at 3, right? Typically. So Misty was told by almost every teacher that she was too old, that her body was wrong, that her skin color was wrong, that her family didn't have enough money to provide her with the best training that she had to have. She was told that her dream was impossible. Imagine the lies she was invited to believe. But Misty Copeland didn't abandon herself. She practiced in borrowed spaces with hand-me-down shoes, day in and day out, believing in her dream, changing those tapes, recognizing the lies. And in 2015, she became the first African-American woman promoted to principal dancer, which is the highest rank at the American Ballet Theater, which is one of the top ballet companies in the world. That right there, Misty Copeland, is metaphysics in motion, quite literally. That is the spiritual practice of cultivating inner solidarity. Misty Copeland refused to believe the old lies and the limitations, and in doing so, she redefined what the world of ballet would look like. And as Baldwin reminds us, the world had to adjust. And it did. She changed the face of ballet in the world. And just like Misty, we are all invited to cultivate that powerful kind of inner solidarity, to use our voice for self-love, to claim our own worth, our own belonging, and our own beauty. Yes, you are beautiful, every one of you. So, I would love for us to do a process together. Are you willing? Those of you at home? All right, so let's put this into practice. I invite you to take in a deep, easy breath and a full exhale. Gently close your eyes or just gaze downward at a fixed spot in front of you. Soft gaze, if that's more comfortable for you. And let's take in another deep, nourishing breath. And just let your breath be easy. You may want to put your hand on your heart if that feels comfortable for you. And just gently notice what area in your life do you sometimes have a tendency to abandon yourself? And be gentle here. Do you sometimes shrink back instead of speaking up? Maybe it looks like people-pleasing. Or perhaps for you, when you say yes, even though your heart is saying no. Perhaps you're carrying the false belief that you are somehow less than or not worthy in some way. Or maybe you have a harsh inner critic at times. Maybe you're currently making choices that are not good or healthy for your well-being. Whatever it may be for you, just very gently be curious and compassionate. And just notice any way that you have a tendency to sometimes abandon yourself. Just gently notice without judgment. Be very gentle here, loves. And now with your next breath, you have the opportunity to align with the truth of your soul, with your loving inner spirit, which only knows love and the highest truth. Allow your heart space to open even a little more and feel the unconditional love of the divine within you. And in this next breath, I invite you to give yourself full permission to have immovable, unshakable solidarity with your soul. solidarity with the part of you that is God, the part of you of love, of spirit, of source. And I invite you to silently say after me, I affirm solidarity with my soul. I stand in my truth. I am worthy of all good. I am profoundly loved. Feel this truth settle into your being. Just really let it land for you. Softly, powerfully, gracefully. And in your next breath, simply allow full and complete alignment within your body temple, knowing that you have within you the holy strength to stay true to yourself, to be in solidarity with yourself, and to love yourself unconditionally. And when you are ready, I invite you to begin to feel the air in the room and the seat beneath you, and very gently open your eyes. Let's all take a deep breath together. Friends, this is the spiritual practice of cultivating solidarity within you. It doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it's actually very simple. You can return to your own version of this process at any time. And really, it's just on the breath, that gentle reminder. I am worthy, I am loved. Of course I can do this. I affirm solidarity with my soul. That's all. That's all. That's all. Ernest Holmes wrote, "We are born to be free, to be unbounded, to express the infinite." We are born to be free, to be unbounded, to express the infinite. That is why we are here. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that magnificent? That's the truth of every single one of us. Truth with a capital T will always outshine the lie. Always. Standing in solidarity with your soul will always shrink the false belief. Always. So, this week, notice or catch the lie with compassion. Catch the lie with compassion. When you notice the old tape playing, please don't judge yourself, just notice it, and then what? Pour in the opposite. When? That instant, reframe that lie with the truth. Catch it. Pour in the opposite. I stand in my truth. I am worthy of good. I am profoundly loved. My words matter. And for good measure, for those of you who are, dare I say, overachievers, nobody in this room. The cherry on the top with this practice is every morning just ask yourself, where can I stay true to myself today? Where can I stay true to myself today? Or as I did this morning when I was walking my little dog, Spirit, give me the strength to stand in solidarity with my soul in every breath. Spirit, give me the strength to stand in solidarity with my soul in every moment. And then listen closely. Listen how Spirit guides you, the ongoing, ever-giving, continuous conversation that Spirit is having with us, breath by breath by breath, guiding us in every moment. The more you tune into that, the more authentic your life will be, the more spiritual your life will be, the more peaceful you will be, and the more peace we will have on the planet.